This channel supports 8-Bit Salute and Operation Supply Drop. Please help us raise money to help support our men and women in service throughout the world. Operation Supply Drop, making fun where there is none. What up, everybody? This is your boy Blak Magus, and this video, gonna have a bit of a serious tone to it. Been a lot like that lately, but I wanted to talk to you guys about locker room talk, which is something that is kind of an issue these days. With the presidential election, Donald Trump's comments being exposed, and the big to-do about that. Now, for those who are uninformed, long story short, there's a video of Donald Trump speaking with a gentleman, what's his name, Billy Bush. Oddly enough, it's a guy who's already had some controversy. God, why is that word so hard to say for me right now? Who's had some controversy with his opinions on Ryan Lochte and how him and what's the other guy? Oh my God, Al Roker. Why am I so dumb right now? How they went at it over the issue of Ryan Lochte and the whole incident in Brazil with him lying about being robbed and things like that. They were having a discussion, and Trump was basically speaking about how he can get away with damn near anything when it comes to women, because they let him, and because he's rich, powerful, culminating into him saying, and I quote, "Grab them in the pussy. They'll let you. You can do it, and they won't do anything about it." So, of course, that offended a lot of people. Can't blame you for being offended. The way that he was talking, basically, he was just telling people, yo, violate women. I can do whatever the fuck I want, when I want, and get away with it. And it's cool. You know? That's not cool. So when asked about it and, confronted, he gave what he felt was an apology, and kind of dismissed it by saying that it's all locker room talk. He also dismissed it by pointing out that Bill Clinton had been accused of sexual harassment and rape. It's like, okay, so, and this is a very big pet peeve of mine. When people justify doing or saying something wrong by pointing out another person's wrong, it annoys the fuck out of me because, okay, one, we're not talking about them. Two, you cannot validate your wrong by pointing fingers at someone else who is or may be wrong. That's just stupid. To me, that is you basically saying, yeah, I did it, I fucked up, but so did he. That is you basically admitting to everybody that you are a piece of shit or that you did something fucked up. So, how is that helping you? It's dumb. It's like, if I commit a crime and someone confronts me and says, Michael, you just stole $1 million from the bank. If I don't want to, if I don't want you guys to come at me anymore, it's not going to do me any good to say, yeah, well, Bill over there stole $1.5 million from the bank. It's just dumb. It's lame, dumb defense. And I don't know why people do that. Cause just make yourself look worse, and even more make yourself look like a fucking moron. But I guess Trump's used to that. Anyway, sorry for that rant. Moving on. Uh, Now he went on to just basically say how this is a locker room talk. Basically saying, "Oh, guys, just do that," which is just another dumb defense. Like, "Oh yeah, we talk about shit like that all the time. What's the big deal? It's no big deal that men sit around." First of all, okay, thank you for basically dumping all of us in that same boat. Um, so now I'm sure there's a bunch of guys who've been catching flack from their women who are like, "So is this what you guys talk about when you're alone together in places?" Like, okay, thank you. And that's the third thing I forgot to mention. It's like, not only are you um, pointing the finger at somebody else and making a dumb defense, but you're putting heat on that person now. It's like, okay, so you're fucked up, so you're gonna get everybody fucked up. Thank you. Now here's the thing: the locker room talk. Men definitely say some wild shit in private to each other. I don't know if it's as wild as what he says. At least from my experience, I've never been around that. Have I? I've had some things that I considered to be kind of suspect. People talking about things that they wanted to do to women and how they like feel like a woman's place and stuff like that. Like, especially older people. Me being the age I am, I grew up in the early '80s to early '90s, so I was around a lot of people who came from the '50s and '60s in an era where, a quote unquote woman's place was a like huge thing, and you would hear some pretty sexist and degrading things as far as like, a woman's intelligence, or how, the whole barefoot and pregnant argument and shit like that. That was sadly a staple of society still. Even then, even as things continue to progress, that was, I think, more heavy. I don't hear it as much now. But back in the day, yeah, I heard that shit a lot. So yeah, there is definitely a level of lewd, offensive talk among men in private, and I'm sure it's the same for women too. I'm sure they have things that they would say to each other, especially sexually, that they wouldn't say publicly to just anybody. And that's one of the biggest problems with his whole "it's just locker room talk" is that it ain't locker room talk if it's in public. This is your public opinion. You know what I mean? People understand that the term locker room talk uses the word locker room for a reason, because that is an area of privacy where certain discussions go on. And most people, men and women, are smart enough to contain it within there, because there's certain things that you may truly believe in, but you probably shouldn't say in public, and that's why you do it in a locker room. It, like, I say some wild shit on here. A lot of it is just me being silly, but I can understand if someone might find offense. And I do apologize. My intent is never to offend anyone, and if I've had, seriously, that's just not me. I'm very sensitive about that, because I don't want to be offended in any way, and I don't feel like I should offend other people. But if there were something extremely like ridiculous and lewd that I wanted to speak, I'm gonna speak it to my best friend while we're sitting here chilling. I'm not saying shit like that on camera. If I felt the way that Donald Trump felt, you wouldn't hear that shit. Never. You know, because you just there's just some things that you don't publicly say, especially when you're running for fucking president. That's the thing that like makes his whole situation odd, is that where are his people who vet him? Like, I understand you can't stop what he said 11 years ago, but you could take the like response and clean it up. His response, his reaction to it with the whole "it's just locker room talk" shit. He should have never been able to say that. He should have just apologized and said, "Look, you know, if he would have just came out with the 'I'll be a better man' apology, whether you buy it or not, it would have been a much more acceptable response than, oh, this is just locker room talk." And by the way, Bill Clinton, he got accused of rape. What about him? You know, this is why his campaign is a fucking train wreck, because clearly there's no one helping him understand how to speak, teaching him anything about public speech. It's crazy, but just on the general topic of the whole locker room talk thing, again, people don't engage in conversations. I wouldn't even engage in conversations like that in the locker room if I felt that way. I would, if I'm gonna talk about that to something, it's gonna be around somebody trusting. I'm not just gonna be bragging to some random person. And the things that he said, yeah, that's disgusting. that's fucking dumb. I mean, there may have been some truth to it. Perhaps he did find some women who were so enamored by his money that they didn't give a fuck and let him get away with stuff like that. But it's just not cute to be bragging about. It really isn't, especially at his age. That is something that falls under the category of, yo, you're too old for that shit. 11 years ago, this man was fucking, I forget how old Donald Trump is, but he's not young. And he wasn't young 11 years ago. It's like, that's the type of shit you're still talking about? Really? You haven't gotten over that stage of your life? That's crazy, but yeah. It is what it is. That is a train wreck of a man, I swear. God help him. But anyway, as always, you guys feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I will holler at you later. This your boy Blak Magus, and I'm out, y'all. Deuces.